Thank you for your kind introduction. So my presentation will be about beyond ideology, family well-being as a defense against radicalization. So to give a bit of a context at the beginning, there is a substantial body of knowledge and research frequently analyzes socioeconomic deprivation as well as ideological factors as combined drivers of radicalization. But my attempt is to isolate both independent variables and to dismantle this analytical complexity. So my research focuses on socioeconomic deprivation as an independent variable contributing to the likelihood of radicalization. Such focus is meant to propose a multidimensional family well-being approach designed to mitigate this factor as a strategy contributing to broader countering radicalization efforts. So the methodology I used is umbrella review, which is usually evaluating evidence from systematic reviews that already exist. So it's a review of reviews. And I focused on the criteria to select the literature on two main pillars: the correlation and causality between socioeconomic deprivation, including poverty, inequality, and collective marginalization, and individuals' susceptibility to radicalization and extremism. And the other one is the role of the family functioning and well-being, including adaptability, cohesion, quality of life, as mitigating or protective factors against the appeal of extremist ideologies. So first, the role of ideology. While many argue that socioeconomic problems drive radicalization, existing research provides mixed support for this claim. There's a line of research that combine the socioeconomic deprivation with the high religiosity, and the element of ideology has to be combined in a way and in conjunction with the economic hardship as underlying factor for any movement towards any radicalization or extremism. However, there's also a line of research focusing exclusively on socioeconomic deprivation as driving factor of radicalization. And in this regard, my research focused on three elements. Deprivation drives extremism, and there is a strong correlation exists between socioeconomic deprivation, including poverty, exclusion, marginalization, and the cultivation of extremism across political and religious spectra. And this finding was examined across different regions and contexts that are listed in my research references. The second element is related to the collective injustice factor. So radicalization is less likely about individual hardship and more about collective deprivation. So mobilization increases during periods of long-term economic hardship driven by group-level perception of injustice. The third element in this complexity is that there is empirical observation that individuals rarely emerge from a stable, supportive environment characterized by high quality of life to hold extremist pathways, positions the concept of well-being at the forefront of preventive efforts. And it is important to notice that this is not a pure fact, because there's also exceptions, and as highlighted in previous presentations, there are people with high salaries enjoying affordable housing, well-educated, still commit acts related to terrorism. But this is the focus of my research on the element related to socioeconomic deprivation. So there is also a study limitation that should be noted in this regard. One of the studies, for instance, examined the role of the family functioning, especially family adaptability and cohesion. It's called FACES, Family Adaptability and Cohesion Evaluation Scale. and how this family adaptability and cohesion play a critical role in terms of countering extremism. And that was in a sample of Saudi University students. The study confirmed a strong correlation between quality of life and countering extremism. So family well-being as a defense mechanism. The vulnerability generated by systematic stressors like poverty and social exclusion finds its contrast in high-quality family environment. Where the wider community fails to provide stability or belonging, the family is meant to provide internal resilience and a sense of security and purpose. Consequently, promoting the comprehensive well-being of family unit is a strategic intervention that targets the core psychosocial drivers of radicalization. So what do I mean by family well-being? It's a composition of three different pillars: the objective well-being, subjective well-being, and the relational well-being. And these three different pillars are interconnected in a way or another. So the objective well-being, across literature, there is a large evidence that high-income families are less likely to nurture extremist generations, with the exemptions also I mentioned. This pillar encompasses the tangible material conditions necessary for a stable life. Key factors could include family income, affordable housing, stable employment, and access to quality health and education services. And the subjective well-being, to complement the objective well-being, is related to the internal perceptions and psychological state, the levels of satisfaction, spiritual fulfillment, moral integrity, and the overall sense of security. This dimension is critical for building the internal resilience necessary to reject extremist narrative. The third element is relational well-being. This is focusing on the quality of familial relations, whether inside the nuclear family, means the parenting and spousal relation, or the relationship between the nuclear family and extended family, or the relationship between the family and the broader community. So for instance, a recent exploratory study uses a 4-level analytical framework to examine the influence of family in radicalization, drawing on contexts like the Indonesian, Palestinian, Shishan, and more broadly, Western examples. This analysis underscored the critical role of relational well-being, a pillar focused on the quality of familial bonds and external networks. Strong relational dynamics encompassing positive spousal and parenting relations alongside robust ties to the extended community function as a crucial protective social fabric. So a policy call, the recommendations at the end, is to have a framework for enhancing comprehensive family well-being. So countering radicalization efforts should entail a strategic partnership between governments and NGOs, as well as the private sector and think tank collectively. So governments and donors should prioritize investing in objective well-being. This includes healthcare, employment, housing, social protection, economic empowerment of women, and the most vulnerable education system enhancement, and so on. So strategic investment in this regard will stabilize the family material condition, which mitigates the socioeconomic conditions that might cultivate revolutionary reactions. NGOs, they have a critical role focusing on strengthening the subjective and the relational well-being. So NGOs are optimally positioned to deliver programs that might enhance, for instance, young generation's mental health, marital relationship and parenting skills, community integration, ethical and moral development. It is important also to note that the institutional NGOs' efforts are to be supported and complemented by the traditional community-based contributions. And we have listened to the presentation from Iraq and how they institutionalized some of the traditional community-based contributions in terms of the voices of religious leaders or the voices of elderly in terms of having this widespread wisdom among the young generation. Also, the role of tanks and policy centers are very important to have the evidence-based solutions, not the political narratives. So through this targeted partnership and collective efforts, radicalization can be countered by robust internal family dynamics. So this kind of composition of three pillars, objective, subjective, and relational well-being, could act together as protective, preventive approach that address the structural drivers of vulnerability at the most fundamental unit of the society, the family. Thank you so much.